The way people are talking about this new manga, Kagura Bachi, I mean, you would think that Jesus came down himself to deliver the New Testament. So I decided to try it. And that's when it happened. I read the first 2 chapters of Kagura Bachi and instantly reached nirvana. From the first panel to the last, I started coming, shitting, and pissing my pants. Okay, real talk. I can kind of see why people are hyping this up, alright? Kagura Bachi has cool action, a cool premise, cool main character, but if I'm comparing this to other manga with crazy first chapters like Oshinoko, Kagura Bachi feels decent at most. So I decided to do you a solid and look into the potential of Kagura Bachi. Is this worth reading? And what I mean by looking into it is seeing what the author has done before and if they have a good track record. Most great mangakas can repeat their successes. Authors like Akasaka-sensei have written Kaguya-sama and Oshinoko, or Tatsuki Fujimoto with Fire Punch and Chainsaw Man. Looking at Takeru-sensei's previous works, I only saw 2 one-shots, Chains and Roku no Miyaku. I couldn't find an English translation for Chains, so I decided to just read Roku no Miyaku, and let me tell you, this reads and looks exactly like Kagura Bachi. We're greeted by 2 characters talking on a bridge, a stoic smoker Roku, who looks especially like another character that I've seen before, and a cat named Lucille. Turns out that this cat is a messenger from hell, and he's kind of a chill dude, so Roku and the cat shoot the sit together, and Roku's talking about his best friend Machi, who suspiciously also looks a lot like someone I've seen before. They both work for the Yakuza, so they always carry swords and are a little too good at smoking cigs. It's all fun and games until Lucille looks down and asks, just what happened? Turns out that Roku's friend, Machi, was brutally killed by the Yakuza for not following strict orders to kill an innocent child. This leads Roku to make a deal with Lucille for sick demon powers to enact his plan for revenge. Is this sounding a little familiar? Now, to be completely honest, this one-shot was pretty good, but not amazing. Its strongest aspect was clearly the action, with some truly amazing looking panels that do a great job of establishing flow and movement from panel to panel. Diving deeper into the story, it's very clear that this one-shot is basically the beta version of Kagura Bachi. I don't know why Takeru-sensei hates the Yakuza so much, because they are both major villains in all of his works. Regardless, they seem to be a recurring theme among his stories. And diving deeper into these themes, he seems hyper-fixated on exacting revenge against the Yakuza. And while they really do some terrible stuff in Roku no Miyaku, Kagura Bachi takes its Yakuza to the next level, giving them control over magic. As we see in the second chapter, the Yakuza are working with powerful sorcerers who can cast spells that prevent people from divulging information, sorcerers that burn down his whole house. I have a feeling that these sorcerers are maybe making pacts with devils due to Roku making a pact with Lucille in his previous one-shot, which granted him special powers, as you can see in this panel. It's a very similar power system to shows like Chainsaw Man, where you give up your lifespan or something else for a contract, but it's really impossible to know how this power system will work until the series releases more chapters. So I would say, from looking at this one-shot, this bodes fairly well for Kagura Bachi's future. The author clearly understands how to create a satisfying revenge plot, make likable characters, and deliver on meaningful action. Although I can tell that the author definitely loves to do that classic shonen thing where something major in the story happens and then he goes into a flashback or backstory to make it hit that much harder. This isn't my preferred storytelling method, but it's pretty standard for shonen, so I can't really fault him. He also doesn't like to shy away from darker topics, which I enjoy because it really sets itself apart from more lighthearted series like Demon Slayer. This is why I would say that I don't see the plot declining in quality as the series goes on. At the same time though, I don't see any signs that this manga will be truly amazing, because realistically, this 44-page one-shot can only tell me so much about an author. If I were to personally compare other one-shots like Goodbye Eri, it's much easier for me to see the latent potential in Fujimoto's style of writing. I can tell that Goodbye Eri was a one-shot that was very clearly meant to be its own story with its own climax and was generally a love letter to cinema as a whole. And by the way, Goodbye Eri was an amazing one-shot. If you haven't already read it and are a fan of Chainsaw Man, you should 100% go read that. But this isn't entirely a fair comparison, as Goodbye Eri was written after Chainsaw Man, when Fujimoto sensei already had a lot of experience writing manga. In addition, Goodbye Eri is around 5 times the length of Roku no Miyaku, giving it a lot more time to dive deep into its characters and really deliver an arc that hits you in the feels. With all that said, the one-shot was good, but not great. But that's okay, because to be honest, I don't think people are actually hyping up Kagura Bachi for the manga. Now, that might just sound like the dumbest sentence you've ever heard, but hear me out. The most popular shonen anime of this decade, like JJK, Chainsaw Man, and Demon Slayer, have all been coming out of Shounen Jump. So anytime a new manga comes out with an admittedly sick art style, fire action, and interesting power system, it feels like it's meant to get an anime adaptation. And I think that's where a lot of the memes are coming from. People assume that this is gonna get an anime adaptation. I mean, the action is genuinely very well choreographed, and it's hard to make panels that feel like they flow into each other seamlessly. The author has done a really good job at doing that. If a studio as polished as Ufotable or Mappa were to pick this up, I mean, I could easily see this being an amazing anime. And to be honest, I don't think people care too much for the story. Don't get me wrong, it's decent, but it's very clear that the biggest draw for this series is the action and its main character, both of which are very distinct and well executed. Regardless though, this has been a weirdly surreal experience for me. I feel like I'm in a fever dream. I think I'm just now realizing that anime has gotten so popular to the point that the community doesn't just hype up shows based on the first episode. They hype up manga based on the first chapter and its potential to be a good anime. People are investing in this manga like it's the next Tesla stock, hoping they'll be on the ride to the moon when it becomes an anime and they can say that they read the manga before it was big. The discussion around Kagura Bachi is giving me a mix of Morbius and Cyberpunk 2077 energy, where half the people hyping it up are just doing it to fuck around, but I think there's a strange amount of people that are seriously expecting this to be the next big shonen, solely based off a chapter or two, which is crazy to me. The thing I'm most worried about cultivating a fan base like this is the toxicity that inevitably comes with it. I just hope that the overwhelming fan base and their lofty expectations for the manga don't make the author scared to take risks and try new things. From what I've seen, he's crafted a really interesting premise with a cool power system. It would be a waste to see all of that thrown away because some people on Twitter are harassing him for killing off a character they like. But yeah, I think Kagura Bachi has a lot of potential. I don't think it's just meme that's propelling it. I think it's genuinely got some good elements to it. So I have no doubt in my mind that this manga will be decent. And that's kind of what I said at the beginning. Now the real question is, will it be great? And that's something we'll just have to figure out as the manga continues. But yeah, before ending the video, I quickly want to say that I actually read the first 2 chapters of Kagura Bachi on my Twitch stream, linked below. So if you want to see me react to the 3rd and future chapters of Kagura Bachi, make sure to follow. And yeah, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Thanks so much for watching, and that's it.